3,400 years ago, ancient Egypt was the largest empire on earth, surpassing all of its neighbors, Hittite, Mitanni, Assyria, Babylon, and Elam in size. But in 1457 BC, a group of vassal states in Canaan decided they didn't like living under Egyptian rule, and with the aid of the Mitanni, they rebelled and declared themselves to be independent. They were led by the king of Kadesh. The pharaoh of Egypt, Thutmose III, was not enthused by this. The Canaans were essential to the Egyptians as they served as a buffer zone between them and the other powerful civilizations in Western Asia. Set on retaking these lands, he gathered an army of chariots and infantry. But while he did so, the king of Kadesh had his own plans. He enlisted the help of many tribal chieftains from Syria, Aram, Canaan around him, and raised somewhere around 10 to 15,000 men. At a time where the population of the world was around 100 million, this was a sizable force. They hunkered down in a fortress outside the city of Megiddo. The Egyptians marched north mostly unopposed, their sights set on Megiddo itself. Once they reached the city of Yehem, they had three possible routes to Megiddo. The northern and southern routes were safer but longer, while the central route was more direct but extremely risky. It followed a narrow ravine where the troops could only move single file. If their enemy awaited at the end of the ravine, it would be a slaughter. The pharaoh's generals pleaded that he take the safer routes, but Thutmose III, with information from his scouts, opted to take the more direct central route. He believed that if his generals advised him to take the easier routes, then his enemy would assume he would do so too. So he decided to do the unexpected. The pharaoh was right. The king of Kadesh had left large groups of infantry defending the two more likely paths, and had all but ignored the central route. The Egyptian forces moved with no opposition and reached just outside Megiddo. With the rebel forces scattered, this was a perfect opportunity for Thutmose to defeat the small detachment left behind. The defeat of the detachment was swift, and arriving at Megiddo, Thutmose set up camp at the end of the day to rest for the night. But before the first sign of dawn, he arrayed his forces close to the enemy, and when morning struck, they attacked. The king of Kadesh was likely unprepared for this battle. Although his forces were on high ground by a fortress, Thutmose attacked uphill and desired to break their line. The Egyptian line was arranged in a concave formation and threatened both rebel flanks. The pharaoh led the attack from the center. The left wing's maneuverability was excellent and caused the rebels many issues. This early bold attack, along with the superior maneuverability of the Egyptians, broke the rebels' wills. Their line almost immediately collapsed. The rebels fell into chaos, those close to the city fleeing into it, closing the gates behind them. Victorious, the Egyptian soldiers fell to plundering the enemy camp, capturing chariots and armor. Unfortunately for them, during this confusion, the scattered rebel forces, including the king of Kadesh, were able to rejoin the defenders inside the city. Those inside lowered tied together clothing to the men and chariots outside and pulled them up over the walls. Thus, the opportunity of a quick capture of the city following the battle was lost. Thutmose had his troops surround the city and lay it to siege. The city would not be able to sustain the rebels forever, and Thutmose knew this. He would simply wait them out. During the siege, the king of Kadesh managed to slip through and escape. Thutmose built a moat and a wooden palisade around the city, making further attempts of escape or retaliation from the forces inside virtually impossible. This eventually forced the occupants to open the gates and surrender. The siege was over. The Egyptians took home many riches from the city, and gracefully the pharaoh spared the city itself and its citizens inside. In the following months, a number of other cities in the region were conquered and Egyptian authority in the area was restored. Please subscribe for more battles like this, and also like and comment because that would really help promote the video in the algorithm. Thanks for watching.